We are here to talk about the conventional barbell deadlift. The deadlift is widely considered the king of all strength movements and is beloved by coaches and trainers alike everywhere. Much like the squat, this loaded pull from the floor conveys a whole host of performance and health benefits. The deadlift is an excellent way to develop pure total body strength. The legs, the back, shoulders, arms, grip, and core are all actively engaged throughout the lift. Proper loaded hinging can also reinforce good posture and proper mechanics that relate to many other movements, as well as help prevent injury. Loaded pulling also promotes greater bone density and hormonal responses during training. Lastly, performance. Better sports performance on the court or field, faster running speed at short and long distance, greater vertical jump height as well. Being a loaded variation of one of our original foundational movement patterns, we only ever introduce the weighted deadlift after we've mastered that body weight pattern of the hip hinge. Deadlifts also are one movement where strength can trump form, and you can place yourself in a risky position if you have not paid attention to the points of performance of the movement on any given rep. We must remember when weight is added to the bar that movement matters most. Let's first talk about how we set up our equipment. First and foremost, you'll notice that we are deadlifting in an open floor area. That means anywhere with a rubberized floor that's nice and open, or a lifting platform away from others and away from other equipment. Next, you'll notice that we always start a deadlift by adding weight to the bar. Here, while we're learning the movement, we're talking about adding the lightest possible bumper plate to each side. The reason for this is that we need to elevate the bar off the floor so that we achieve that correct height for our starting position on each and every rep. Now let's talk about how we position ourselves relative to the bar. We begin by walking ourselves underneath the bar such that our feet are directly below our hips and the bar has cut our feet in half such that when you look down at the bar, you will see it cut your shoe directly in half across. From here, we want to figure out how do we grab the bar. We suggest that you take the following approach as you learn the movement for the first time. Begin by bending the knee just softly, then put our hands, palms down on the thigh. Then we're going to replicate that hip hinge movement we've learned before by driving the hips back and allowing the torso to come forward until the hands reach the knee. Now we're going to widen the hands outside the framework of our body, at least thumb swiping distance, if not wider. From here, we are going to allow the hips and shoulders to sink together until we're able to grasp the bar in a double overhand grip just outside the framework of our body. When it comes to the deadlift, we often fail a rep before we even begin, and that is because it is imperative that we nail the setup position on each and every rep. That setup position sees our shoulders over the bar, our gaze out and down, no arching or flexion of the neck, and that neutral spine all the way through to the hips. Notice that the shoulders are above the hips are back and above the knee, and the knee is still in line with the ankle and foot, such that we have a relatively vertical shin, and as always, our full foot is in contact with the ground throughout. Now let's talk about the actual execution of a rep or set. Once we've set up at the bottom in our great setup position, the first thing we want to think about is creating active tension through the upper back by using the lats to pull back on the bar, making sure that the shoulders and arms are engaged. From here, we think about pressing the floor away with our legs such that our hips and shoulders rise together until the bar reaches our knee. From here, the shoulder opens faster until we've completely extended the hip and we're stacked nice and neutral at the top. To return and end a set or begin another rep, we think about doing everything in reverse. First, we look out over the cliff, pushing the hips back, in that good hinge to the knee. Then we settle hips down until that bar touches the ground with a light touch on the floor, and then we can perform our next rep. While we're performing multiple reps in a row, we always want to move with complete control, never slamming the weight at the bottom, nor overextending at the top. As with our other barbell lifts, the addition of load also adds the potential for a failed rep. The deadlift, though, is somewhat unique, so let's talk about it for a second. The first potential failure of a lift is very simple. It's just your inability to pull a heavy weight off the floor, and you'll know it right away. You go to pull, it's too heavy, bar goes down. Very simple, very easy, and not much to worry about when it comes to safety. But more often than not, failure is going to happen at a technical level with the deadlift because you generally can muscle up weight with poor movement before you are unable to pull it all. So what we always want to be on the lookout for together with our partners, with our lifting squad in class, is always making sure that we are keeping those points of performance in mind, specifically that nice neutral spine. If we go to lift a weight and things go bad, you might have gotten the weight up to your waist, but you've lost one or multiple of your points of performance, and that is a failure. That's where you're going to cut yourself off for the day and maybe go down in weight or call it a day.